So do you think that Bethesda's too bougie, DC's too chaotic, and Northern Virginia is too expensive? Well, I've helped a lot of families move to this suburb in DC where most of them were shocked that they could get this much house, this much community, and this diverse a food scene and still make it into DC without losing their minds or their wallets. It's diverse, it's dynamic, and it might just be the most underrated spot in the DMV. Now, today we're going to do 5 reasons why Silver Spring works for real people and one thing that you need to look out for. So I am Melissa Terzis, DC Real Estate Mama, and you know all of the things. This is the channel. You can subscribe and all of that. I read everything myself, so any questions that you have about real estate, please let me know. So let's dive into this. Silver Spring, Maryland is one of DC's suburbs that somehow flies under the radar while quietly being this overachiever of the DC metro area. So during this video, you're probably going to find yourself thinking, how does Silver Spring have all of this? Well, Silver Spring actually encompasses a huge part of Eastern Montgomery County. So yes, when you have this much land, you can have this much stuff. So let's dive into the things that you are going to love about living in Silver Spring, Maryland. Number 1, it's like an urban suburban sweet spot. So Silver Spring is where city energy meets suburban comfort. You've got a walkable downtown filled with restaurants, shops, the Fillmore Music Venue, AFI Silver Theater, and farmers markets. But then you've also got tree-lined streets that are in quaint, very friendly, family-friendly neighborhoods with yards and parks and playgrounds. There's an overall geography of Silver Spring that's kind of important here to understand, and it's probably the biggest pro to living here. Neighborhoods inside the Beltway are smaller communities as opposed to the neighborhoods as you get further north. I'm sort of not alone in thinking of Silver Spring in terms of zip codes. A lot of people do this when it comes to Silver Spring. In fact, I would actually say this is one of the only places in the DC metro area where people actually might use the zip codes to refer to the specific areas. So let's go into them a little bit more. So downtown Silver Spring is zip code 20910. There are a lot of condos here, as well as homes surrounding the downtown and the adjacent neighborhoods of Woodside Forest and Woodside Park. Many of the condos downtown were built in the 60s, and the homes vary from the 50s to new builds. That's the single family. The new builds used to be the 50s houses, but then they were like torn down and McMansioned. I know, everybody's favorite thing. Next is zip code 20901. This is just north of downtown Silver Spring. Part of the zip code is actually inside the Beltway and part is outside. So there's neighborhoods like South Four Corners, Woodmore, and Franklin Knowles are here. These neighborhoods were built almost exclusively in the 1950s. Then you have zip code 20902. This is outside the Beltway. It covers Forest Glen and Wheaton. Much like 20901, lots of 1950s houses here. Zip code 20903 is actually the furthest east, and it straddles both inside and outside the Beltway. It includes neighborhoods like New Hampshire Estates and Hillendale. Homes here were built in the 50s all the way through the 70s. Then you've got zip code 20904. That is near the ICC, or the Inter-County Connector. The ICC connects 95 with 270. Really think of the ICC as like an outer beltway, which is actually kind of what the original plan was supposed to be many moons ago. There were going to be several beltways that circled DC. Then, of course, that never happened. Anyway, this is like the Fairland and Colesville area with homes built from the 1950s all the way to present time. And then you've got zip code 20905, which is north of the ICC, and it includes the Colesville and Spencerville areas. Most homes here were built in the 50s to the 80s. This is also an area that definitely feels out there for anybody with a commute to DC, whether it's once a week or every day. That is kind of a longer haul, being north of the ICC. Finally, you have zip code 20906, which covers Leisure World, Aspen Hill, and Glenmont, which are huge areas. Leisure World aside, the lots here are larger. Leisure World, obviously, I mean, you can probably guess from the name, it caters to adults, and so it's got like they've got single level homes in there and small yards and all of that. But the homes basically in these areas were built in like the 1950s to the 80s, with quite a bit of development that's still happening through the 90s and well into the 2000s. So the takeaway on this part is that the neighborhoods near downtown are close together with smaller lots and smaller boundary areas for the schools. Then as you move north and homes are more spread out over large lots, it will feel much less urban and much more suburban. So, second thing, metro access without DC prices. So this is the second thing to love about Silver Spring. The Silver Spring Metro station connects commuters to downtown DC in about 20 minutes via the Red Line. And in a couple years, that purple line connecting to Bethesda should be complete. So for families or professionals who want access to the city, but not to like the chaos or the price tag of being in Northwest DC, this is a win. Here's where it gets real. You can still find a 3-bedroom single-family home in Silver Spring for under $700,000. Try doing that in Northwest DC. You'd need basically to renovate that house all the way down to the studs if you were in DC. Same thing on the Virginia side, but here you're able to get that. Condos, you've got options under $400,000 here. Many are walkable to Metro. If you've been priced out of neighborhoods like Capitol Hill, Logan Circle, or even Arlington, Silver Spring might like a word with you. The affordability is a huge draw here because every year it is getting harder to find property inside or near the Beltway for $600,000 or less. You can do it here. The bulk of the homes in Silver Spring that were built in the 50s and 60s, these are your mid-century homes, but don't think they're not like the classic mid-century modern. These are like the solid brick houses. They're usually ramblers, sometimes split foyers, but often they're just like split level. Super cute houses though, a lot of really nice features. Another thing to note, the ease of access to the Beltway and 95 from Silver Spring, exceptional. You could live here and have one person in your household commute easily to Baltimore and the other commute to DC. It's really hard to find other places in the metro area where you've got such a great lifestyle and also two people can commute to like the two different cities that are here. So the number three thing to love about Silver Spring, it gets an A+ for diversity. So Wallet Hub actually ranked Silver Spring as the number 4 most ethnically diverse city in the United States. So whether it's food, which you've got Ethiopian, Salvadorian, Korean barbecue, vegan, soul food, community festivals, or schools, Silver Spring reflects a global blend of people and perspective, and that makes it super, super vibrant. So who actually lives in Silver Spring? Families, first-time home buyers, empty nesters, people who work at NIH or FDA or downtown DC, but they don't want like that 90-minute grinding commute home. There's definitely real community here. You've got block parties, you've got dog walkers around the neighborhoods, you've got little free libraries, and yes, it is one of the most diverse places in the region. That means that you benefit from amazing food, inclusive schools, and neighborhoods where pretty much everybody feels welcome. So the number 4 reason people love Silver Spring is you've got top-rated public schools, depending on the pocket. So MCPS, which is Montgomery County Public Schools, has a strong reputation overall, although like some of the top side administrative stuff's been having some issues. But the schools in Silver Spring are very like community and neighborhood centric. They do, like schools can vary, you know, sort of block by block or whatever. So school boundaries definitely matter here. They shift also more often than you think. They're doing another boundary study. Boundary lines are constantly being revised. Montgomery County does offer some interesting programs in this area, like they've got the Down County Consortium that you'll probably hear people talk about as the DCC. So there's 5 high schools in the consortium with 2 in Silver Spring, 1 in Wheaton, 1 in Kensington, and 1 in Rockville. So your child actually, if you're in boundary for this Down County Consortium, your child would have preference at any of these schools should they not want to attend their in-boundary school. Kind of a nice benefit to have. All right, the 5th thing people love about Silver Spring is the parks and green space. So Sligo Creek Trail is a local favorite for biking, jogging, and dog walking. I had clients recently looking for a house. They loved some of the houses that were like right adjacent to the trail. Brookside Gardens and Wheaton Regional Park are also gems for families and outdoor lovers alike. Brookside Gardens is actually within Wheaton Regional Park, and there are a selection of different areas to explore. Everything from a rose garden to children's and aquatic gardens, and it's free to go in. Right now, there's actually a seasonal butterfly exhibit. So cute. Now, at the beginning of this video, I told you that there was going to be one thing to beware of. So we do have a quick reality check. Not every street's a gem. Not every house was renovated well. There are plenty of questionable renovations that you often see done by family members or friends of prior owners. This kind of stuff is actually rampant here. Because the homes were smaller, they were priced on the lower end of the range for Montgomery County. Silver Spring was long kind of known as an area where you may have multiple generations living in a home, or a group of friends who were contractors and they were maybe working their jobs during the day and then also working on the house and doing their own renovations. So this is not an area that was kind of like ripe for contractors to come in, like really high ranking, like high quality general contractors, and to flip houses into McMansions. The houses don't kind of lend themselves well to that here. Although you do see teardowns, it's just not super common here. So what you're going to find is basically when you see that they've got a house where somebody might have done their own renovation, or floor feels like a little bit spongy. I mean, there's usually telltale signs you can tell. It was kind of like, this was a cosmetic renovation. What does that mean? Does it mean you don't buy a house here? Absolutely not. Because go back to what I said about these houses being mid-century and 50s houses. These are brick homes. These brick homes, they are solid. They are a little bit more forgiving when it comes to sloppy renovations because, as they say, the bones are there. But you do want to watch out for removal of support beams and walls, covering of fireplaces or air vents. I talked about that in a recent video. Lots of weirdness can sometimes be found in these homes. This is why inspections are absolutely super important. All right, so should you move to Silver Spring? Well, it's not some sleepy suburb, you guys. This is an urban suburban mashup just over the DC line. You've got a downtown with music venues, breweries, Whole Foods, Red Line Metro with Purple Line on the way, and then 10 minutes up the road, you're in a quiet neighborhood with big yards and swing sets. So Silver Spring, it's definitely worth looking at. Just might be your low-key dream come true. I am Melissa. My contact info is coming next.